All right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Reading.
Slate.
Scene 1, take 1. Mark.
And action.
I love it. I love it. Well, Friday, 2 o'clock, I must be at Burnie's Applebox. Right here. Here we go. Got a great show for you today. We got Manuel Carrillo.
Manuel Carrillo.
Manuel Carrillo.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. All right. I'm Craig Barnes, too. Great seeing you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Manuel is internet. Well, give me your title.
Okay, so my title is Automotive Content Editor at Internet Brands. So basically what we do is we do a lot of different things at Internet Brands, but our major business, or one of our major businesses is automotive. And so we handle automotive media and forums. And so we own about 130 automotive websites.
Unbelievable.
And about 20 of those have like a magazine-style front page, and I'm the editor for 9 of those websites. So
wow.
those websites include sites like CorvetteForum.com, MB World, the Mustang Source JK Forum, Mustang Forums, 5series.net, DodgeForum.com, ATVConnection.com, and TeamSpeed.com.
Don't ask me to repeat that. You know, and you can see why he's here today, too, because you can imagine... In my world, I look at a lot at social media. You can tell I do this show. I love social media, but this man is a manager extraordinaire of information and magazines and social media. And that's what I really want to take a deep dive in with you, because I know how great you are. I know what a really classy operation that you run, and how you get this much content is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. But before we go there, I want to find out about you. And I don't know anything about you right now. I have not looked at your background. I've done all the LinkedIn, all that stuff, but I don't know about you. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Southern California. I was born in Fontana, California, so where Auto Club Speedway is. So I was born in a town with a racetrack.
Okay.
So if that didn't solidify my destiny as a, fuel in the veins car enthusiast, what happened 2 days later after I was when I was being brought home from the hospital did, because my first ever car ride from the hospital after I was born was in a Porsche 911S. So, even...
Is that what did it? Was that like the molding right there, the branding?
Pretty much. I mean, the branding of my life pretty much began within the first breath and the first 48 hours was very pivotal and instrumental to the foundation of who I am today.
You must love that. I know it's not the first time you told somebody that, right? So, and growing up, did you always have a fascination with automobiles?
It began with Porsche because of that Porsche 911S that brought me home from the hospital after I was born. I would go in as early as 3 years old to our garage, and it was sitting in there, and I would sit in the cockpit of this car and study the instrument cluster, and then record it in my brain, and then go to the dining room table and then just draw. And then I'd go back, study some more, then go back to the dining room table and draw. And this happened 5 times a day on average. Wow. For the majority of my childhood.
What did your parents say to you? What did they...
They thought that I was a bit of an eccentric. Yeah. They thought that, I was... I think I was always a concern to my parents because I was a little bit different.
Everybody great is a concern to their parents. That's for sure.
Yeah, I had kind of an obsessive personality when it came to automobiles. And I was fixated on cars, and I suppose it was just because of that car that was out in the garage. But then, maybe dive in. I went from having this fixation and this really deep interest to having an obsession with cars by around the age of 7. Because at the age of 7, on May 6th, 1992. My father brought home his first Corvette, a C4 1992 Corvette convertible.
Wow.
And I didn't really know much about Corvettes at the time. I had a general understanding of them, but I wasn't a deep and I didn't have a deep dive of knowledge on Corvettes. So I started getting all the magazines, about, reading up about the car. I'm like, oh my God, my dad's new car can go 163 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in the low fives. Like, wow, he got a really nice car. I didn't realize Corvettes were this awesome. And I just dove more into the information of this new car and these new experiences that it was bringing me.
And how old were you then?
I was 7 in 1992. Yeah, when I bought the car.
Okay.
Yeah, and that just drove me into high gear with cars even more so than I thought I was already.
So of course your family too, because you came home from the hospital in a Porsche.
Right.
And then Dad at 7 goes out and buys a Corvette.
That's correct.
You had a background, a family background. Obviously, Dad loved cars too.
Absolutely, he did. He was a car. He was, he would call himself a speed enthusiast. He was into racing, and he would, he went to the inaugural back when it was called California Speedway back in 1997 when California Speedway opened up, and they had the NASCAR race there, and he was a big Jeff Gordon fan.
Okay,
he would cry when Jeff Gordon would win a race. He'd be, oh my Jeff! Ah! It was a spectacle watching him because I'm like, what is wrong with you? But no,
Dad, stop crying.
right. But he was passionate, and so I derived some of my passion, even though I'm more of a new car, what's ever in the new car magazines. That's kind of what I'm into. I'm not really necessarily a racing fan, but I think it's cool. But
of course, no, there's a difference.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Very much so. So, growing up, and what kind of student were you? Just tell me that.
I was afraid of getting in trouble by the teachers. I was terrified of teachers yelling at me. So it was.
I wished I would have had that problem, frankly.
I was a fearful kid. So I would obey, and I would do my homework. And as a result, I was an A and B student.
Oh,
and
that's
then,
awesome.
I remember I tried being a slacker in 7th or 8th grade, and I started dipping into the C's, and maybe got a D once, But that was so stressful on me. I'm like, oh my God, it's so much harder to be a C and like a low B and maybe an occasional D student. It's just too much stress on me.
See, that's a great life lesson for a young person like that, you know, because I was on the opposite end of that. You know what I mean? If I would have got a C, I would have started getting worried.
Yeah.
You know, hey, they're going to expect this every time.
Right.
I got to lower expectations.
Yeah.
And so you went through. When was your first car?
My first car was a hand-me-down from my brother, and actually, I'll kind of rewind a bit from that because the backstory begins to when I was 23 months old, and how that relates to my first car because we were at Campbell Ford in Garden Grove, California, buying a 1987, a brand new 1987 F350 long bed crew cab diesel non-turbo, so 0 to 60 in 21 seconds. Just a really, really, really slow.
I can tell not that you were paying any attention at 23 months old. Yeah,
but already at that point I knew.
Yeah.
That I do remember vividly, like it was yesterday, that day that we were buying this truck. And I remember looking up at how big this vehicle was and just remembering that I didn't prefer this style of vehicle. And I have fun with trucks. I review trucks and what have you. But, I mean, I'm a car guy at heart. But I remember looking at this truck for the first time and saying, this isn't fun. This just doesn't feel right. And then on the other side, waiting for delivery for somebody to pick it up, was the brand new 1987, the refresh of that, the Fox body of that. So they did a big refresh in 1987 for the Mustang that year.
Sure.
And so it was a brand new Mustang GT Coupe, blue on the top with the gray on the bottom. So back when two-tone was all the rage. And I remember in whatever limited language capacity I had at that point at 23 months old, I remember gesturing to my father, Dad, get that! And nobody would pay attention to me, like I'm going to sway the buying decision of my family at 23 months old. And we ended up buying that truck and whatever. But 4 years later, my brother's first car, because he's 12 years older than me. I have two older brothers. So I'm the youngest of three boys. So my oldest brother, when he turned 18, he bought a brand new Mustang GT convertible. So in the same style as that 87 that I had seen 4 years earlier. And he put 400,000 miles on that over the course of 12 years. He was a salesman, so he'd be driving down to San Diego and back. And then later on, when he had that car, he was an internationally award-winning wedding photographer. And so he was driving all over Southern California shooting weddings and coordinating with couples doing their pre-bridal shoots and what have you. So over the course of 12 years, he put 400,000 miles on that car.
Oh, my gosh.
And then by 2003, when I'm turning 18, he decides to hand it down to me. So all dilapidated, and I mean, oof, God, it took me $4,000 just to get it back into acceptable condition.
Yeah.
And working every summer, and just
But still, it was your car.
it was
right?
still my car. It was a beautiful hand-me-down, and my brother was very, very kind to offer that opportunity
Sure,
to me.
absolutely.
And it definitely was a nice backdrop to my senior year of high school.
Awesome.
So
And when did you graduate? What
I
year?
graduated in 2003, and the Mustang, when I was given the Mustang from my
Yeah.
brother, that was the second semester of senior year. The first semester of senior year, my dad was a crazy man. He let me drive his brand new C5 Corvette convertible to high school the first half
Oh
of
my
senior year.
gosh.
Yeah, my dad was nuts. I don't know why he trusted me, but yeah.
You were styling, dude.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were styling.
I ended up winning senior best car that year.
Oh, really?
So I'm in the yearbook, senior best car. Yeah. But so that's a bit of my car history.
Oh,
and,
that's
how the first car
awesome.
played out. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me, where'd you go to college?
Oh, there's a question
Oh,
over on.
got a question. Okay. What,
Yeah, we have a
what-
question from Cameron Vanderhorst.
Oh, yes, my good friend Cameron Vanderhorst. Yes.
He'd like to know what car you had as a kid, or what car did you want as a kid?
Oh, okay.
What
yeah.
car do you still want? And then what about one you don't want anymore?
Oh, okay, yeah. Cam is a very Cam. If I can promote him for a second, he is one of the co-hosts of the Camden Tubbed podcast. It's a very popular
awesome.
podcast, high ranking on
Welcome.
on
Thanks for
iTunes.
watching.
Yeah. So I'm a guest on his show quite
great.
often.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a pleasure to talk to on his show, and a very, very good friend of mine. He's actually one of my freelance writers as well for the internet brand sites. But yeah, good questions, Cam, as always. But a car that growing up, I was always a German car guy. Aside from liking having Porsche as my all-time favorite car company, and Corvette is my all-time car model. I was always into German luxury car brands, and back in the early 90s into the mid 90s, I was fixated on Mercedes-Benz. And then after about 95, 96, I got fixated on BMW. So during high school, to answer your question, Cam, I was in love with the BMW M3. It was my dream to own a BMW M3. The E46 generation of the BMW M3 was it was the car for me to have back when I was in high school. And then that converted into Audi in the college years. And so all throughout college, I wanted an A4, and then my college graduation present to myself was a brand new Audi A4 when I graduated.
That's great.
So yeah, I ended up getting the car that I wanted all throughout college. So and then one car I never wanted was maybe something like a anything late 80s Chevy sedan, midsize or compact. It was just something kind of that
Just gave you a sick feeling.
never
right?
registered with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Awesome. So now you went to college.
Yes.
And what college?
Cal Poly Pomona.
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
So you stayed pretty close to
stayed
your
pretty close, yeah.
your roots there.
Yeah, until I moved to Australia at the once the recession happened.
Okay.
But that was after I did a stint in radio. So I began my writing career in radio, and I was working.
Interesting.
I was working for CBS Radio even before I left college. I actually did an internship with them.
Okay. What did you major in college?
Communication.
Communication.
With an emphasis in journalism.
Okay.
And I had an internship at 97.1, the FM talk station in Los Angeles.
Great.
And they hired me right after my internship ended. They fell in love with me, and I was in love with the station, so it was such a great fit. And I was in charge of writing all the promos for the station, so getting awareness about all the events that we were doing. We did 430 or so events per year, or giveaways or contests. So there was always something going on, and there was plenty of me to write for on-air ads for our own station.
Sure.
And so that occupied a lot of my time, and then the other half of my job was being in charge of all the giveaways. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You were the man to know.
I was
then.
the man to know, and I was able to take my entire family out to see B.B. King before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
Bucket list stuff to
Wow.
get, to really, it was nice being a provider in that sense, a provider and a purveyor of entertainment and
That's
memorable.
great. Yeah, and you're
memorable
always
things.
on the inside when you're in jobs like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know where the back
Yeah.
door is.
And then
yeah.
getting to go to the Playboy Mansion twice a year,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I mean,
That's
just
great.
22 years old and getting to go to the Playboy Mansion. that
Pretty
was
good.
just- yeah. So I've lived a good
I'm
life.
pretty sure I would have traded a body part at that point to do that.
Lived a good life. So yeah, I mean, even then I kept it local too, as you said. But then recession started happening. We started losing advertisers.
So what, around 2009?
2009, yeah.
Okay.
February 20th, 2009, the station flipped formats to a pop station. They didn't need my services any longer. So I became a math and English tutor for a while. I tried a sales job. But I wasn't really satisfied looking for these odd jobs. And I figured, okay, well, if I'm kind of struggling to find fulfilling work, might as well do it in a foreign country and learn something while I'm at it.
Great.
So I ended up applying for a 1-year working holiday visa in Australia. It took about 36 hours for me to get accepted for it. And I had a friend who had an empty room.
That seems awfully quick. How did you get it in 36 hours?
The migrations office in Australia, I forgot what the name of their immigration services, but they're very, very quick, and they want people. They need people. They need immigration there. So they're very, very accepting of America, Americans, British citizens, Canadians, what have you. So yeah, it only took a matter of less than 48 hours, and I was in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so I had a place to stay out there. I was paying $500 a month for a place that I should have been paying $2,000 a month for.
Yeah, you're used to Southern California, right?
Right. So no, but Sydney's actually more expensive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's about on parity with New York City and San Francisco.
Really?
It's one of the top.
I would not have suspected
worldwide.
that.
So I was able to have that connection to where I was able to get that, and I applied to about 400 jobs. Ended up selling Skodas, which is a derivative of the Volkswagen Group.
Okay.
And made family through that job, and had a great 6 months down there. But so I didn't really keep it local. I've reached far and wide too, and at this point I've been to 17 countries.
Oh, that's great.
And countless cities. So
any of that related to the work, or is that just
absolutely
on your personal? Oh, so you've been through work. You've been to different places.
Through work, I've been to several countries. Yeah, back in 2015, I got to cover the Gumball 3000.
Okay.
Yeah, for Dub Magazine actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
And that was an incredible experience, and that was the best experience of my life up until I got to drive the Bugatti Veyron. One of the few people in the world ever to drive at the time what was the fastest car in the world.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we'll dive into that. Tell me, what year did you start with Internet Brands then?
I started with Internet Brands as a freelancer, late June of 2013. I actually applied for a job with them as an editor in February earlier that year. Didn't get hired though; they hired somebody else. But the managing editor at the time, John Coyle, he called me up a few months later and said, "Hey man, we'd like some writers." I was driving back home from dinner with my mom one evening, and I get this call. I'm like, "Oh yeah, hey, what's up, man?" And and so yeah, he's like, "Yeah, we could use your talent." And I said, "Yeah, that'd be great, yeah." And I just hit the ground running with Internet Brands as a freelancer. And when the opportunity came for a job opening there, they thought of me immediately.
Oh,
and
that's fantastic.
I started with them full-time in-house February 11th on my grandmother's 101st birthday.
Oh, my
She would have been
gosh.
101 at the time. She died
my
when she was
gosh.
81. But yeah, 20 years after her death, I started with Internet Brands on her birthday.
Okay.
And
Grandma was still looking out for you then,
yeah, I
huh?
suppose so.
Yeah,
I suppose so. Yeah,
that's great.
And so that's when I started full time in house, and so it's been wonderful ever since. And,
That's great.
And to talk about what we do there, it's very entrepreneurial there.
Okay.
And how it relates with this film production show is that with the entrepreneurial spirit and the creativity that I'm allowed at that company, I've been able to invest in my own production company to, instead of just writing articles and just going and we don't clock in, but I mean, going in and, getting a paycheck. I'm very entrepreneurial about it, and I want to grow my own brand as well as, the brand of the company too.
course.
And kind of, use me and the company to, 1 + 1 = 3 and,
Yep.
make us grow
Gotcha.
together. But, so I spent a significant amount of money in 2015, on my own film equipment. I bought a Canon 5D Mark III and a 70-200. And a bunch of L-glass, and then sound equipment, a Zoom H6, Sennheiser mics, a Manfrotto tripod, GoPro, and a bunch of production equipment. I even have a DJI Ronin M for the gimbal stabilization and everything.
all
So,
right.
so
You took that stuff and you sort of said, "Hey, wait a minute. This is the items. These are the things I need to embrace media to sell myself."
right.
That's brilliant, dude.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's part of the reason for this show. Is letting people know that you don't wait for somebody else to produce for you. You produce for yourself.
I'm a big believer in creating the job that you want. You know, I have a dream job of mine, but then I want to add to it, and adding the video component of things
Right.
is the way that made that happen. Now, nobody wants to spend all the overhead on video, and if they do, it's not going to be where you want it to be if you are the artist and creating it yourself. So
Right.
that's why I've bought some of the best equipment out there, industry standard stuff.
Yeah.
That,
you just said to me is all industry standard for sure.
And so, I've studied, as far as the production side of things, I've studied it for hundreds of hours and how to make a good product that looks visually good. I have a mentor of mine, Jeff Glucker, who is the executive editor of Hooniverse.com, to thank for just kind of inspiring me of, leading me into the right direction of what is the right equipment to buy, learning his techniques for filming on shoot day. I've helped him on his shoots for,
That's great.
I helped him on a shoot for when he had a Lamborghini Huracan. I was there the day that his daughter was born, and he had to cut the shoot in half because he had to go to the hospital.
Oh
He had to go
my
to Hogue in
gosh.
Newport Beach to see his daughter get born
Oh
in the
my
middle of filming.
gosh.
So I was there for that, and Jeff's been a great mentor to me, and he's helped me, build my brand visually with film. So I thank him for that. He's been very pivotal and instrumental in that for me.
I feel, sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like you're somebody who actually took the ball and ran with it. With
Absolutely.
that, and did that. Just a question for you. What do you find holds most people back from doing what you did? I have a theory, but I want to hear what you think.
Maybe a lot of people aren't naturally entrepreneurial, or maybe if they are, they haven't found a way to be entrepreneurial.
Looking for permission?
Maybe looking for permission, or maybe thinking that they're not good enough, and maybe thinking that they can't live their dreams. I remember back in 2002 when I first started discovering Top Gear, which to people out there who don't know, who aren't familiar with it, Top Gear at one point was the most popular TV show,
It's the holy grail of automobile.
Right. I mean, 350 million people worldwide watching that show.
Right.
At one point, the most popular TV brand in the world, and at one point more valuable as a brand than the entire NFL.
Wow.
So I was one of the first people in the United States to know about that show because I was one of these youngsters on the file sharing services like Morpheus and Kazaa and LimeWire, downloading any car video I could find and watching Jeremy Clarkson review a GTR. I'm like, who the hell is this British curly-haired buffoon? But he's very, very interesting to look at.
Yeah, I can't stop.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
He's a buffoon, but he's very intelligent at the same time. How does he do that? But it's just. Yeah, it was very inspiring, and people like Tiff Needell, who was in the earlier part of Top Gear, and seeing this scrawny British dude work a Porsche 911 Turbo around this Alpine British testing circuit, like it was moving his own fingers, but moving this 3,400 pound Porsche 911 Turbo around the track at hundreds of miles an hour.
Incredible.
Yeah, so it changed my life because at the time all we had was Motor Week, which is great. It's an institution. But it does its job with automotive media. But the British automotive media took me into a new dimension, and I just started studying everything about it. And it was typical for me to on a non-school night to stay up till 4 a.m. watching Top Gear and Fifth Gear and all the British television shows.
So you had for you, that was something that presenting with media, with video and stuff was almost becoming like second nature to you. That's what you related to. You weren't in there reading it as much as you were watching it.
Well, I mean, in the early days, I didn't read books growing up. I would read Motor Trend. And so as far as the writing side of it went, Motor Trend style of writing has been ingrained into how I write today as a professional automotive journalist, or automotive writer is more accurate. But I think that that bolstered the writing side, which is my day job. But then after hours, my entrepreneurial side does the video thing because I manage a team of about 31 freelancers, about 10 regular contributors among them, and make sure that my 9 sites are populated, and make sure that I'm keeping good relationships with the OEMs, and doing my features on the trips that I go to. I just got back from driving the Aston Martin DB11.
Yeah.
So and that was a very fun experience. So I write my features, make sure that my sites are populated, make sure the writers have enough to write, And that's during the day. And then at night, I go home and I edit the videos that I filmed on the weekend when I have a press car. So it's a lot of work.
Yes.
But it's worth
lot
it
of
because
work.
I have dreams of expanding into television and what have you.
Now, let me ask you a question here. And you know, I'm not trying to delve or dig into anything. I'm just trying to gauge a feel or a moderation. Internet brands, I'm sure they embrace video.
Yes.
How much do they embrace video? And the reason I ask that is I think there is a workflow with video that most people do not understand. And certainly it's not something someone has cost averaged out in the accounting department. Right. Like it takes you can write, I'm just picking numbers out of the air, 15 articles a week. That's a reasonable expectation. I don't know if it is or not. But it's much more difficult to put video in that category and go, okay, we're going to go shoot one day, then we're going to edit, and now it's ready and do all this.
Because to break it down on that, like if you look at my Lexus GSF video, that's the most beautiful video I've done so far. And the editing time on that alone was 100 hours.
Right.
So, you know, coming home after work and then staying up till 2 in the morning for 3 or 4 weeks straight.
Yeah.
To shoot it was over the course of 2 days. So I had a crew with me on Saturday, went down to San Diego, shot that, and there, San Diego County, shot that with my crew in you know, during the golden hour, and we really only had about an hour and a half to shoot that thing.
Okay.
And then the next day, just getting B-roll up in my local mountains by where my mom lives in you know, Mount Baldy area. So yeah, that was, you know, that was probably a combined 12, 13 hours to shoot it.
Yeah.
So,
and then all that time to edit it, 100 hours.
Yeah, so
which
more
is
than 100 hours.
Two
you
work
know,
weeks.
Exactly.
2.5 work
Exactly.
weeks.
So that would be very expensive for any company to pay for.
Right.
You know, that's you know, that's
Well, it's
quite a bit of
hard to
money.
embrace. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
I'm sort of getting at too. Is I think there's a natural resistance with people with doing video in, you know, most situations because it's. I don't want to say it's not cost effective, but you have to be set up for it to make it cost effective.
You do, yeah.
You know, you have to have all of those internal things that you need there. The editing department where you're shooting stuff, you know, send it to the editing and let them get it out.
Right.
Kind of like maybe almost a news station, a little, you know, maybe a little more upgraded than that. But I think that's a big problem with adoption.
But what's making it easier is Facebook Live. I mean, the medium we're using
Like what
right
we're doing now here.
yeah.
Yes.
And for instance, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it anymore. The reason I labor for 100 hours
Right.
and shoot all weekend and use any of my personal time to create beautiful films is because, you know, I have a vested interest in trying to, you know, land a TV deal one day. I mean, not on traditional media, but probably, you know, on something like, you know, I'm
Hey, I'll sign you right now.
no, but you know, I'm talking to Apple Music right now.
Right.
I'm talking to. We're exploring things with Bravo. So we're thinking about these things, and I have my reel to present that to people who are looking for that professional side of things with me.
Yeah.
But with Facebook Live, you have something that's free.
Well, you have some real immediacy then.
but you know, you can get your iPhone.
Yeah.
You could plug into Facebook Live. When we were at the Chicago Auto Show just a couple weeks ago, Ford launched the new Expedition. And that was, they had launched it in Texas a couple days earlier, and then it was available for us to see at the Chicago Auto Show just a couple days later for that. But we did a walk around. That was, you know, in a matter of a couple days, that had generated about 75,000 views. FordTrucks.com's Facebook has about 1.6 million fans. Wow. And because Facebook is promoting live video right now, that is a great way for us to get our message out there.
That's a brilliant way.
But on top of that, I think that something where we are excited to expand with Facebook Live is showing that, there are personalities behind this website.
Yes.
You know, it's not just writing, like there's actually people and faces.
You know what? That is such a great point because I really feel that's a really missing component. I think for 100 years, the idea is pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Yeah. Well, I think the man behind the curtain or the woman behind the curtain, the person behind the curtain is part of the story.
Right. It's like voyeurism.
That is a really legitimate part of the story. What we're doing right here. I've got a studio.
Yeah.
Right? I've got everybody. I know everybody who knows how to do everything. There's 3 guys sitting over there.
It's a good group of guys.
Yeah, Travis Thomas, Hunter Rogers, and Nick Brandstetter.
Yeah.
You know people. You've got resources. Yeah. Take your resources, figure them out, and take it to the maximum limit.
Right.
You know, take it and push the envelope. That's what you have to do. And just like what we're doing here, you coming down and seeing me, and we did not know each other before we met, what, an hour ago?
That's correct.
2 hours ago?
Yep.
And, but you saw the show, you knew Kevin Allen, who I had on a couple of weeks ago, and you were so excited about it. I said, please come down. You know, I'd love to talk to you because even though I hadn't met you, there was a face behind the media, right? That somebody I could talk to and love it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny just listening to you talk and your take on it. Here I am, probably easily twice your age if I was being kind to myself. But I will tell you this.
For the record, I am going to be 32 in a few weeks. So.
Okay, well, yeah, still I'll go with half and still be kind to myself. But what it is you have a take on it like I have a take on it. Okay, now, you know, you probably see it from a different angle than I do, but this right here, when it's right, it's right. When it works, it works. Right. And I think that you have to be an experimental type of personality, and I believe that media is a personality business, and exploit it. So I totally congratulate you.
You kind of have to be a business person about it. You kind of have to be entrepreneurial and willing to take risks. And I mean, kind of my motto is act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability. So
say that again.
Well, you know, it's kind of a memorized thing, but acting on your highest excitement to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can go with absolutely zero, sorry for spitting, but with absolutely zero expectation of what the outcome
That is so awesome, dude. Yeah. I will tell you that is it in a nutshell. Yeah. And that is it. And you know what? That's not a place where your stomach always feels good. That's not a place where you're always like exuding confidence and stuff.
Right.
But you're walking through a dark room, feeling your way through it, knowing there's a door on the other end.
Right.
You know, and that is the type of stuff. That's the way you have to be, I believe.
Right.
You know,
it's an organizing principle for me. It's a guiding principle, and you know what, I actually there was something that, you know, the Corvette got me into high gear with automotive enthusiasm, but it was actually a day shooting a Bentley Flying Spur that made me shift my priorities of where I was going to invest all my extra money, because before April of 2015. I had the idea that, okay, well, any extra money I have left over this year, I'm going to get my 1991 Mustang GT convertible running again, the one I talked about earlier, my first car. It hasn't run since 2005. The clutch cable broke, $700. I don't, you know. And,
yeah, right.
You know, so just,
I'm going to do that next week.
Yeah, really. So I was thinking, okay, I'll get the Mustang running again. You know, have my fun convertible V8, 5-speed. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. And then my best friend Jonathan Klein was living in Chicago at the time. Was looking for a place to live out here. And when he was looking for a place to live, Bentley lent him a Flying Spur for the weekend. So we shot it. And so it was me, Jonathan's wife, Allie, and then our dear friend who I work with, Joseph Yoon, who did the photos that day. So it was the 4 of us, and we were having the time of our lives that day. And I felt a happiness come over me that day that I hadn't felt in years. And I'm a generally happy guy, but this was like, oh, wow, this is like a special...
Euphoria.
Yeah, this is like a euphoria that was coming over me the entire day. I'm like, okay, from this day forward, priorities change, because that Mustang probably isn't going to be running for a little while longer, because any extra money I invest is now going to be in film equipment, because I need to start doing my own videos. Because we were helping Jonathan shoot that day for something, and so I'm like,
that is so awesome.
Yeah, and so since then, now I have 7. I don't have enough time to with my full time. Responsibilities, I am time limited, so I can't get films out as quickly, but
as long as you're doing it, that's the important thing.
Right.
And everything that I've seen, and we're going to look at some of your stuff. Nick, where are we at on time?
25 minutes.
We are at 32 minutes.
Okay, why don't we take a break here, then we're going to come back and take a look at some of your video.
Sure.
So I'm really excited about it. All right, we'll be right back.
Burnie's workshop is fantastic. Burnie's workshop is awesome. Burnie's workshop is insightful.
Burnie, in one word, passionate maybe. You can tell he really cares a lot.
Burnie is a badass.
He's a great teacher. He has great stories, and I would recommend this to anyone. Not only someone like me who's starting day one, but I feel that in any profession, as you sharpen your sword, it always gets sharper.
I think the best thing about this is the access to understanding how to run your business, how to actually be in this filmmaking industry and make money at it. Coming to this workshop, I think, is what actually gets you the tools to understand how to do that, how to get out there and sell yourself.
I thought that was really cool. I thought, he knows all the tricks in the book, and he knows how to show that to us and actually demonstrate it so we actually know what he's talking about.
I really like the hands-on experience. That's something that you don't find a lot. That's something you have to go on set a lot to just appreciate.
I know this is lighting seminar, but it's not only talk about lightings. He also share his business experience, personal experience, and guide us to what we should do, what kind of personality we should have in this business.
His stories, I think that kind of say everything in a few example stories that he gives out from time to time.
I would recommend this workshop to anybody who just brand into the industry, people who just don't know the swing of it. A lot of this stuff they don't teach you in film school.
I deal with a lot of freelancers every day, a lot of peers that I went to school with, a lot of professionals in the field, and they all need to take this class because it puts you on the next level, on the next playing field.
Burnie's a great guy. Burnie's really authentic. Like everything he learns, everything he teaches, the way he handles himself, the way he deals with other people. He's a one-of-a-kind guy, someone I've never come across before in the industry, and someone I hope to emulate and hope that there are more people like him out there that can help.
Okay, that's it. Well, what a marvelous looking man that was. What are we going to take a look at here?
Okay, so I had mentioned the Lexus GSF video here. So that was a very interesting shoot and very, very fun to shoot. And something interesting happened with that one because we ended up getting to Jason Connor, my director, who I help out when he hosts videos for Hooniverse.com and MotorAffair.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a trade-off because we like to keep costs as free as possible, so we trade off on each other's videos. And so if I host something, he'll be my director, and then if he hosts something, I'll be his director. So he was directing my film for that one, and he's a Navy officer, or he's in the Navy. He's a Navy chief.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting off work late on a Saturday, wasn't back home till 3. So we got to San Diego at 3. Just kind of ended up getting to the shoot location at around 5:30 after having dinner. Had to feed my people, and then so
most important thing on a film set.
Yeah, so we ended up getting to we were filming in May, I believe it was, and we were at the shoot location by about 6:30. Finally, after everything was said and done, and so not a lot of daylight to shoot these initial scenes with the crew.
Sure.
But it worked out perfectly because it was golden hour. Mm-hmm. And then as we were doing our flyby shots, this British-style fog just starts rolling in over the landscape, and it couldn't have been more poetic. I mean, it was just so divine intervention, kind of. It was amazing, and it made the shot more dramatic. So actually, when you look at the opening shot, it looks like we're on a British B road. It looks like we traveled 5,600 miles to shoot this film, but no, we just went down the street to San Diego. And
great,
yeah.
Great. Well, let's take a look at it. What's the name of this? What is?
So this is the review of the 2016 Lexus GSF.
Okay, how long is this? Do you know?
This is we're not gonna see the whole thing, but just we'll point out some things.
Okay, good.
And,
yeah, we'll be able to go
Yeah,
talk through it.
right.
Yeah, okay.
With the 2016 Lexus GSF, we have a serious problem here. Laws. Anytime I'm sitting in this thing, I feel like I'm right in the middle of D-cup cleavage, ready to thrust me forward 1,320 feet in less than 13 seconds. And it's amazing, but it's also very tempting because if you're in 25-mile-an-hour zones all the time, it just really sucks. So that's why I brought it out to the open road, to have the fun I really want to have with it. So the minute you start driving the 2016 Lexus GSF, it's immediate that it wants to go fast. And that's what sucks about driving this car in residential areas or areas where you can't go fast, because it's just screaming, drive me hard, and you want to drive it hard, but then that cognitive dissonance comes in your mind like, well, I don't want to get arrested. So that's the biggest problem with this thing. It's just so racy. The minute you get into it, especially when you push the start button and 467 horsepower comes to life through that 5-liter V8, it eggs you on the minute you get into it. So you gotta get it on the open road and you gotta drive it. And when you do, then you begin to understand this vehicle. While it's fine around town, it really shines when you are in a performance driving situation. Those small little jittery bumps that really come through in the cabin on your residential street that annoy you end up turning into really smoothed out, engaging experiences on a back road. It's interesting how this car changes when you drive it fast, and it seems like that's all it's really meant to do. It turns in so well, there's so much grip from the Michelin Pilot Sport tires, it all comes together so well when you're driving fast. Now, what I would recommend people who own this car to do, to really get the most out of it, is drive fast as much as you can on the weekend. That way when you're driving slow and you're in traffic, you're not tortured whenever you're going slow in it. You have to have a nice balance of fast driving time in this car because it's so good at driving fast.
And in the spirit of balance, let's hear that glorious V8 sing us a song as we devote the next 80 seconds to how this car was meant to be driven.
That was awesome, my friend, and we're still watching it here.
Yeah,
now,
so it's that 80 seconds of exhaust.
That was very, very well done, and you're very good on camera.
Oh, thank you.
That's obviously worked at it, know your stuff, and did it. You were just telling me when you were in the car there, were you just winging that? You obviously didn't script it out, did you?
No, that's all just, the experience of the car being channeled through me into words.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
That's a great talent.
And that was a very, very hard scene to shoot because usually it's a lot easier for me to do in-car commentary like that when I have a sound person sitting next to me and then it's like, oh, well, why don't you mention this too? Oh, yeah. And then I'll do another 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That was by myself that day. The day that I was shooting the in-car commentary bit and this bit that you're seeing right now.
And the audio is very good.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the Sennheiser industry standard stuff. Yeah.
Right.
But
most people don't get that. They're focusing on the picture.
No, audio is very important, yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, all this was shot by myself. It was the flybys and the stand-up that you saw at the beginning.
Okay.
That was shot with my two-person,
And what did you put on? What was the hood shot when we were seeing you driving? Was that a GoPro or?
So looking through the windshield.
Looking through the windshield.
That's a Matthews master mount.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
It's a Matthews master mount. Yeah. So
that was very good.
That really has elevated the. Pardon me. It's elevated the filmic experience of these things. So I mount my 5D Mark III on top of the Matthews Master Mount and use a polarizer, of course, and shoot through the windshield. But it's when I got that Matthews mount, oh my God, it was it was just like one of the best new toys.
That was like, I got to use this, got to get it on there. Yeah. I know my buddy Tony Hope here asked you when we were watching that. Your crew size. What was your crew?
So Jason Connor, director.
Okay.
And Joseph Yoon, my director of photography, shooting my photos and kind of helping out with the cameras too.
Great.
That was it that day.
That was it.
That was it.
Wow.
So one point that I like to bring home about this is that this obviously isn't quite at the level of what Motor Trend's doing, but it comes pretty close. And
you know
for
what? Yes,
free.
it does. It does. It does.
Yeah.
No, it's here's my take on this is when you're doing stuff like that, that's valuable resources right there. This is, it may be something that is, a car is almost like a perishable in a way. If it's a new car and you're selling a new car, well, then that information, you know, let's just say it's less important as time goes on, you know. But this is exactly the type of piece that I preach about, and don't take my wording wrong. I refer to this as disposable media.
Yeah.
And what that means is it's meant to be one bite.
Right.
They unwrap it, they take a bite, they wad up, they throw down the wrapper, and that turns into the next bite for somebody.
Right.
And 1 million people come along and take that bite. You know, that is very powerful. You don't have to have 100,000 people watching it at one time.
Right.
It can live out there. It can do its work.
Yeah.
I did a thing with Bill Hoshevnikov one time when we did videos for Airy. Those things still get watched.
Yeah.
And the product is maybe like 6, 7 years old now. You know, people still use it. They still sell it.
Right.
You know, but there it is. It's still working every day.
That's actually a testament. Oh yeah, if you want the credits there.
Okay.
Jason Connor, director.
Awesome.
Me writing, editing, and hosting it, and then Joseph Yoon, the director of photography for that day. Oh yeah, just to mention what's going on here, it's this, outtakes. I do outtakes at the credits, so it's me running back and forth.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
very smart.
Yeah.
Very good. People love behind the scenes. They love the outtakes. Yeah.
Oh,
there
and the
you
reason
are.
I'm covering my mouth right now is because you can't tell, but that day it was actually 41 degrees when we were filming that because it's near Mount Laguna where we shot that. So it was just under snowing basically.
Oh
and
my gosh.
If I don't cover my mouth goes numb and then I can't talk.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to run back and forth, as you see there.
The things you don't see. The things you don't see.
So that's why I'm covering my mouth like this, so that my lips don't atrophy,
that is
basically.
so funny.
Yeah,
nothing's worse than cold. When you got to look like it's warm and it's cold, you don't know how many times I've been shooting down at the beach and some poor girl is in a bikini wrapped in a ferny pad, just praying they don't go back to one, And but it happens every time. Good job. Good job. That is great. Let's because I know we're running out of time now. Let's go to another piece here, Nick, if we've got it.
Yeah. Well, I was mentioning that with the staying power. I'll get into telling them which one to queue up first. It's actually one of the motorcycle videos because my first ever full featured review video was the review of the Harley Davidson. The name is blanking me right now. I'm not the biggest bike guy, but I started out actually doing motorcycle reviews to hone my production skills so that I could do car videos the right way. And so we were getting a lot of Harleys at the time, and when I reviewed the Harley Davidson Street 750, that should be in there when you guys look for it. That one I think is still my best viewed video of all time.
Wow.
And that one might have about 95,000 views at this point.
Oh, wow.
It keeps getting a lot more because not really many people.
And when did you do it?
That was done. So that was back in April. No, I shot that in April of 2015. And ended up publishing it though by about August, I want to say, of 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good run.
Yeah. So it's been a while since that video's been out, but that it's the reason that gets such a reception is because few people do automotive, car level production value on a motorcycle review.
Right.
So that ended up getting, within the first couple of weeks that was out, that ended up beating the LA Times' video about that bike.
Oh my god!
And yeah, so it's it's definitely developed a foothold in the industry, and But unfortunately, I'm not trying to be known as a motorcycle guy. I like them.
Yeah.
I'm a car guy who happens to ride motorcycles.
You're a car guy.
Yeah. It was just it was just mainly a way for me to get more into the craft of the filmmaking than the actual.
Yeah. Well, it's a good skill to know.
Right.
You should be able to review a bike too.
Exactly, and it actually made me better because when you can talk and ride at the same time, which is more involved.
Yeah.
That makes you better for cars.
Yes.
So yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. So it was a good way in. Yeah.
Awesome. Do we have that up, Nick? Okay, we're all ready to go. So let's take a look at it.
Rise to the sight of temptation. Yes, this motorcycle, minding its own business in a beach parking lot. Or so you think. This two-wheeled machine has an agenda. It wants you to put your butt on its seat. Look at it there being all jealous at the non-motor-driven cycles being pedaled along sunny shorefront. This thing's got a problem, and you just might be the person to fix it. If riding motorcycles is new to you, this thing is pining for you. It wants you to be its accomplice. If you refuse to be its partner in crime, things may get, let's just say, complicated. This is the 2015 Harley-Davidson Street 750.
Yeah, so
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, you were just saying while we were rolling there.
Yeah.
Tell me what you said.
Well, yeah, I mean, being that was my first video, you could see a difference, a progression of the production talent
right.
that happened from 2015, August of 2015 to August of 2016. So
right.
We definitely was a learning curve, but a lot of that was there. And
well, you know what, and I'll tell you, that is something, and I've really learned it on this show too. Because I'm a gaffer, and I really try to do world-class work. That's very, very important to me, and I feel like I'm charging people a premium for my services. I'm not the cheapest guy, so when I go out there, it's got to be right. So I have a very high standard on set and doing what I have to do. But I had to relearn a few things in my life too, and that is, hey, sometimes if you're going to push the envelope, sometimes the envelope's going to tear.
Right.
It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. And right here, what we're doing with live was the same thing.
I'm going to use that quote actually.
Thank you.
I love that quote.
Thank you. But with it out here, I had to say, look, it's going to be warts and all. I've got to do something, and I know the first shows are not going to be what the 20th show is, and I know the 20th show isn't going to be what the 100th show is.
But you got to get it out there.
But you got to get out there and do it, and that's something I think that everybody's got to keep in mind.
Right.
Don't be safe. Don't stay in your safe zone.
Right.
You should have a pit in your stomach.
Right. This one actually got a good response on the YouTube comments, as brutal as they can be sometimes. There was one I did, there were two motorcycle reviews later where this guy laid into me. I mean, the worst comment I've ever seen in my life. And I was incredibly flattered by it, because the fact that somebody took 10 minutes to construct and compose something so vitriolic, something so passionately vitriolic.
Yes.
I was flattered by it. I'm like, wow, you're passionate that much to that degree about my work?
Yeah.
I couldn't love you more.
Yeah. Your expectation level is so high for me that obviously I've disappointed you. I couldn't be more thrilled about that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and,
very good.
Yeah, and so,
very
but
good.
then when the Lexus video came around, the beauty of that one was that one of my writers, he ended up sharing, unbeknownst to me, he shared that video on Reddit.
Oh.
And Reddit is known for being the worst when it comes to vitriol.
Promotion.
No.
For vitriol.
The negative comments. Maybe one like, oh yeah, whatever. That was the worst one.
And that was it?
That was the worst one.
Wow.
And the majority were, oh wow, this guy's actually pretty good. His cinematography is also really, really nice. I'm going to subscribe to him.
Oh my gosh. What went wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is wrong with you guys? You guys are supposed to be mean.
That's so fantastic.
So I've been pretty lucky when it comes to the comments, even when they're bad.
Oh, that's good. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What is this we're looking at?
So right now, this is just more of the review of the
bike,
Street 750. This ended up going on Harley Davidson forums, hdforums.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we did a syndication with this on FordTrucks.com. So and Motor Authority ran it too.
Great.
A lot of good syndication with the internet brand sites.
Well, that's really something too. And we spoke before the show too. Part of the formula for this in live is sharing. And where you share it and how many videos you share it. I think that's really something you probably have a great leap forward on, is because you do get that. Are there any thoughts that you could give anybody on social media sharing?
The distribution system is very, very important because even though I only have 420 subscribers on YouTube, my entire channel views are 370,000 right now.
Wow.
For the 9 or 10 videos that I have on there, that are,
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's pretty robust, and it's you don't need a large. So if you're starting out on YouTube and you think that you need a large subscriber count to get any traction whatsoever, that's not the case. I know YouTube accounts that have tens of thousands of subscribers, but before they put it on their distribution channels, they only get like maybe a few thousand views. So there is a major competition for attention on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so subscribing isn't enough to reach the people you want to reach. You need to have that distribution system.
Right.
So if you can get your video shared on several major sites, like in the case with this one, why this one did so well, MotorAuthority.com, FordTrucks.com, and HDForums.com.
You were able to get it on those forums and do that.
Right, and a mainstream automotive news site. So
yeah,
they were very happy and receptive about motorcycle content from me for
Yeah.
my YouTube channel. So it's it was just a matter of having those relationships.
Yeah. And did you develop those relationships through internet brands?
Well, yeah, we own Motor Authority. Those
so
are all
you were
our
you were
sites.
all in-house, like stuff.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think
But they got a
it's-
free video out of it,
Of course, they
Yeah.
got content, and
Right.
that's another thing that I always tell people. That's one thing, and I've had some luck in Facebook. I've done fairly well in
Yeah.
Facebook as far as getting it, but I learned some core things at the very upfront. That was use other people's content and promote them.
Yeah.
That was probably the one best thing I did. And I had like 2,000 production photos from the moment I got on
Yeah.
Facebook. So I could always put a photo out there, and that's really all I did. I just sent a photo out every day of me on set, on a set, of a set,
Boom,
and it really worked that magic.
Yeah.
So promoting people, sharing to other sites, and promoting other people's projects is
Yeah.
a really, really great way to get that network going.
Oh, absolutely. What I love about our industry is that we're not really competitive.
No.
We cross share,
No.
cross promote. If somebody runs a really cool story, we will talk about it. We'll link to them.
Yeah.
As first reported by Road and Track or Car and Driver or Motor Trend or Automobile,
Right.
whatever. So while we promote ourselves, we do our own thing too.
course.
It's very, very collaborative. It's very associative. So when we go to these press events and we see all of our competition there, we're all best friends.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've come to term it co-opetition.
Yeah.
Because you are a cooperative group. In my industry, in film and video and stuff, I mean, there's a half a dozen lighting guys. I'll call up and say, hey, do you have an extra M18?
Yeah.
I need another sky
Right.
panel.
Right.
Anything like that. And they'll do the same for me. And we're constantly doing this.
Yeah.
I go, well, how much are what's your rental on that? They go 150. Okay, give me 75.
Yeah.
And then they make a 75 on it. It's a very, very great way to run an operation
Yeah.
because first of all, you win when they win.
Right.
And vice versa. So
Yeah.
it always work out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, one of the community manager from topspeed.com emails me several times throughout the month sometimes and like, hey, we did a rendering on this car. You guys want to run it on your site? Yeah, absolutely. So it's a nice cross promotion. So, and we do many
absolutely.
things like that across the industry. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. Brother,
Burnie.
This hour is flowing by, I'll tell you with you.
Absolutely.
Tell us about where they can get a hold of you. Tell us about what you do, what you want to promote.
Well, yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Manuel Carrillo 3. I don't know if I have to spell that out, but it's probably...
we have a graphic, don't we?
Yeah, so we're good there. Yeah, so
if
my
we
YouTube
spelled
channel,
it right.
but the internet brands portfolio of sites, like the ones I mentioned, as well as the sites that have hosted my videos too, that I don't not a direct editor on, like FordTrucks.com, Harley Davidson forums, HDForums.com. The Bevy, just look up me on MotorAuthority.com, our mainstream news site, theCarConnection.com, GreenCarReports.com, our mainstream news sites.
Okay.
All great sites, all internet brands owned, and happy to promote them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. And
Yeah.
just for my folks and everything, remember Onset University, send me your email. I want to send you out some promotions on that. Burnie's Grip and Lighting, of course, we're in business all the time, 24/7, ready to go. And what else do I own? Oh, Burnie's Applebox. Yeah, tune in every Friday at 2 o'clock. Don't forget, be here, be square. All right.
Thanks,
brother.
Burnie.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cut. That's a wrap.